Locked, 2025, is a gripping psychological thriller set within the confines of an unassuming house where the atmosphere is thick with tension, suspicion, and escalating desperation, culminating in a heart-pounding climax. The narrative follows Tom, a meticulous and introverted man who begins his day seemingly like any other, only to quickly find himself inexplicably trapped within his own home, bewildered and disoriented by his situation. The film opens by establishing Tom's mundane daily life, brewing coffee, moving restlessly around his apartment, and exchanging trivial messages on his phone. This sense of normalcy shatters abruptly when Tom discovers that he cannot open his front door. His security keypad malfunctions and his mobile phone loses signal. Attempting to reach out for help yields no responses. It's as if the outside world has vanished or is intentionally being kept from him. As Tom grapples with his confinement, a growing anxiety permeates the atmosphere. He frantically checks windows, ventilation systems, and plumbing, searching desperately for an escape route. The house appears to be orchestrated against him, heightening his palpable panic while also triggering his analytical instincts. In a swirl of confusion, he wonders whether this predicament is a prank, a punishment, or a psychological test. Time slips away from Tom, blurring his perception as the once familiar surroundings of his home morph into an eerie space. Flickering lights and unnatural echoes intensify his sense of dread. He hears muffled voices resonating through the walls, but the words elude him, raising questions of whether someone is surveilling him and if he is on the brink of madness. In a crucial moment, Tom discovers a cryptic note hidden behind a bathroom mirror stating, "You know what you did." This message ignites a torrent of self-examination as Tom reflects on recent interactions and relationships. The audience is drawn into stylized flashbacks, revealing memories that mix reality with the unreliable, a past encounter with a woman named Rachel characterized by emotional tension and accusations. As he roams the house, Tom engages in conversations with himself and Rachel, haunted by guilt and attempting to understand his role in her fate. He begins to suspect that Rachel might be the orchestrator of his current predicament. The discovery of hidden cameras points to a disturbing reality. He is indeed under surveillance. Driven by a mix of anger and fear, he lashes out, trying to dismantle his watchers while screaming for acknowledgement from the silent home. A chilling message briefly flashes on the TV screen: "Stay inside," intensifying the film's unsettling atmosphere and sense of entrapment. Desperation envelopes Tom as dwindling food supplies, dwindling water, and fluctuating electricity become his new reality. In a frantic search through his apartment, he uproots furniture and appliances, hoping to find tools or any clue that could offer him solace. Amidst the chaos, he discovers a small locked box hidden beneath the floorboards containing old photographs, a set of mismatched keys, and a cryptic note that reads, "One mistake, one life." These ominous words weigh heavily on him, hinting at a shadowy past that Tom is reluctant to confront. As memories surface, he recalls a tragic incident from years ago, an event that led to someone's death, an incident shrouded in guilt that Tom thought he had buried. This buried guilt now resurfaces, relentlessly intertwining with his current state of despair. The film's pace intensifies as Tom's mental state begins to unravel. He constructs makeshift contraptions and lays traps, prepared for an enemy that he expects to come crashing through his door. However, despite his preemptive measures, no one arrives. The nights turn torturous. He is plagued by dreams of drowning, suffocation, and a feeling of being entombed. The apartment, once a refuge, transforms into a sinister confinement, a tomb and a confessional space where he is forced to reckon with his demons. In a climactic twist, a gas leak threatens to engulf the space, its origin shrouded in uncertainty. Whether it is accidental or deliberately orchestrated is left unclear. Dizziness overwhelms Tom as he staggers to the bathroom, where he finds one final cryptic message inscribed in the condensation on the mirror: "Confess." In a moment of emotional fracture, Tom finally voices what has long remained unspoken: Rachel's death was no mere accident, it is a burden entwined with his own negligence, potentially his malice. This haunting truth that he had locked away now echoes around him as he finds himself trapped within his own mind, a prison of guilt. The story culminates in chilling silence as the apartment door creaks open, light flooding in. A figure stands silhouetted in the entrance, their identity a mystery, be it a relative of Rachel's, a government official, or a vigilante. Tom collapses in despair at the doorway, gasping for breath. The film closes ambiguously, panning through the now emptied apartment, revealing hidden compartments and surveillance equipment. This encourages the audience to contemplate whether Tom is facing revenge, a psychological experiment, or a consequence of his own actions. Ultimately, Locked, 2025, delves into themes of guilt, consequence, and the complex divide between memory and truth, offering a chilling chamber piece where the real horror lies not in external threats but in the internal battles of the mind. As Tom prepares to leave his apartment for the day, he finds himself trapped when the front door refuses to open. Frustration mounts as he repeatedly presses the lock's keypad, convinced it's a technical malfunction. His attempts to call maintenance fail, his phone displays no signal. He rushes to the sealed windows, but they too won't budge, leading him to experience a gradual transition from mild irritation to confusion and finally anxiety. Searching for alternative exits, Tom finds the fire escape is stuck. He tries reaching out to a friend, but again there's no signal, even his Wi-Fi is down. As hours slip by, his desperation intensifies. He pounds on the door and hollers out the window, but the street below is hauntingly silent, amplifying his feeling of isolation. With nothing else to occupy his mind, Tom begins to spiral into paranoia. He wonders if his situation is a technical glitch, a cruel prank, or something darker. In an exploratory frenzy, he scours every corner of the apartment. Behind the medicine cabinet he uncovers a slip of paper that reads, "You know what you did." The words halt him, they reverberate in his mind, resurfacing long-buried emotions. Memories of a woman named Rachel flood back to him. Their last encounter had been tumultuous and marked by raised voices. She accused him of betrayal, alleging he had done something that bore heavy consequences for her. Though the specific details are hazy, it's evident their relationship ended in turmoil, leaving Tom with a weighty sense of unresolved guilt. As night cloaks the apartment, it transforms from a familiar haven to a suffocating prison. Distorted voices echo through the air vents, yet calling out garners no response. The darkness unveils unsettling details he hadn't noticed earlier: small holes in the walls, wires snaking into furniture, and the faint hum of electronics. When he investigates further by pulling down a mirror, he discovers a hidden camera watching him. The understanding dawns: he's not only trapped but being monitored. In a fit of rage and fear, Tom begins destroying his surroundings, tearing apart smoke detectors, prying open electrical panels, and smashing through drywall. He finds a locked metal box in a hidden compartment containing photographs of Rachel, a worn flash drive, and an enigmatic small key that serves no purpose in the apartment. As hunger and fatigue set in, his food supply dwindles and his water turns brown. The lights flicker erratically, hinting at remote control by his unseen captor. In a last-ditch effort, Tom yells at the walls, demanding liberation and answers about who is behind this torment and why he is being subjected to such a nightmarish ordeal. Tom's isolation leads him into a spiral of hallucinations where he perceives Rachel, a haunting figure, appearing in the hallway and reflecting back at him from the mirror. She maintains a silence filled with disappointment and anger, forcing Tom to confront his guilt. Desperate for redemption, he collapses to the floor, speaking to her ghostly presence, attempting to justify his actions and insisting that he is not at fault. Yet even as he argues, vulnerability creeps into his voice and uncertainty darkens his expression. The atmosphere in his apartment shifts, heightening his distress. The television inexplicably turns on, displaying a chilling message: one mistake, one life. This revelation strikes Tom like a blow as it brings forth suppressed memories of a tragic accident involving Rachel. He recalls the horrific details: the screaming, the crash, the blood, and the undeniable truth that he had walked away never facing the reality of his involvement. The weight of his guilt crushes him now as the confines of his apartment become an inescapable prison where he can no longer hide from his past. As the isolation intensifies, the environment around him becomes increasingly tormenting. The temperature fluctuates erratically and eerie sounds echo through the walls, reinforcing his mental breakdown. His physical state deteriorates. His fingernails are torn and bloodied from his frantic attempts to claw his way out. He neglects his basic needs and the clarity of his thoughts begins to fade. Despite this downward spiral, his mind continuously grapples with the painful truth he has been avoiding. Just when he believes his circumstances cannot worsen, he becomes aware of a gas leak in the apartment. It is ambiguous whether this is an actual hazard or a final cruel test of his psyche. Tom, disoriented and weakened, struggles to maintain coherence. As despair envelopes him, he observes the condensation on the bathroom mirror, forming a new ominous command: confess. With whatever remaining strength he possesses, he drags his body into the living room, seeking out the hidden cameras that have been silently recording his descent. In a moment of raw vulnerability, he speaks softly and tearfully into the lens, finally confessing the truth of what happened that fateful day. This act of acknowledgement shifts the suffocating feelings enveloping him, positioning him to confront the reality of his actions and the guilt he has long denied. The burden of his confession is immense, yet it may also serve as the first step toward redemption. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.